And this week, it's Ag in the Courtroom again with Dr. Roger McEowen from the Washburn School of Law. And we're talking about a recent case in the Kansas Court of Appeals dealing with a family situation. So what about some specifics and what can people learn from this?
Well, what happened in this one, Ken, is, as I said earlier, in our discussion, that mom had 5 kids and one was to be the farmer, to inherit the farmland, and the other children were not to have any part of ownership of the farmland or the cattle or the farm machinery. And what mom owned were farmland, farm machinery and equipment, cattle, and a bunch of oil and gas interests. This is out in north central / northwestern Kansas. So there's a lot of oil and gas leases, and mom had those interests. But everything was put into a trust, and it was called a discretion. It had discretionary language in it, and the farm son was named as trustee. And that what we mean by discretionary trust is that the trustee has complete discretion over disbursements of trust income and assets. And really, the beneficiaries aren't entitled to a distribution unless the trustee gives them one. Well, mom deeded the land, half of the land to the one son that was the farm son, and half interest to another son, and then he deeds his interest to his farming brother. So the son that was to inherit the farmland ends up getting all the farmland. He owns it outright, but it's got a bunch of debt on it. So what he did was he said, well, I'm the trustee of this trust. I have full discretion over the trust income and assets. So I will just dip into the trust and take $1.3 million out and pay the debt off on the farmland that I own individually. Saying that since I have full discretion, I can do that. Well, the answer is no, you cannot. Even as a trustee of a fully discretionary trust, you have fiduciary duties as trustee to the beneficiaries. Even though you are a beneficiary, you have to be loyal and impartial and administer that trust in a prudent manner. And that's it. That's Kansas trust law. That's in Kansas code. And you can't override those responsibilities by putting language in a trust document that would wipe those out. You can't do that. And even though the trial court judge said, yeah, you can, that's incorrect. The Court of Appeals unanimously overturned that and said, trial court judge, you're going to have to figure out how to put this back together. And that's going to be a tough one because he's already spent the funds to pay the debt down on the land, claiming that his bankers told him he could do that, accountants told him he could do that. But it comes back to my initial point, Ken, and that is apparently at the drafting stage of this, the client wasn't educated as to what that language meant. And I fear it was one of these situations. Now, I don't know, but my suspicion is it was client said, I need a trust. Okay, what do you really want to do, mom? Well, she explains in general terms. So boom, here's your trust, signed here, with no discussion with the trustee as to what the language meant. Mom wasn't informed clearly. And then now you got a mess, and you got family members suing family members, and you just have a total disaster. And so we want to avoid that as practitioners representing clients.
So, Roger, if folks can learn more about this, read your blog on, you go into great detail of what went on, what happened, some of those implications, because maybe those conversations somewhat like this are taking place right now. So where can they find that?
This is, if they go to Washburn Walter on the web, so just WALTR, it's Washburn Agricultural Law and Tax Report, so there's no E in that. And then open to the homepage, and then down the left-hand side, you'll see a link to the Agricultural Law and Taxation blog. Click on that, and it's my article of October 5.
Okay, Roger, always good to catch up, and we'll look forward to seeing what happens through the courts or through other action next month when we talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Ken.
Dr. Roger McEowen, who is the ag law professor and a tax law specialist at the Washburn School of Law, has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.